You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Michael, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Thank Ferrick. I'm Cliff Barnes.
What? I'm Seth.
Hey, welcome to episode 251. Hope you enjoyed that special episode we just did in the holiday spirit of things. Hope that went over well.
Knocked it out of the park.
Boom.
If you want more silliness like that, let us know. Or if we should never do it again, also let us know, please. How's everybody doing?
Exhausted.
It's been a very busy post-holiday event. Lots of work.
Which holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Yes, Thanksgiving. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
I thought he was talking about episode 250.
Yeah, we're on the backside of 250 here.
The holiday is episode 2.
Yeah, we've gone way downhill after that.
I'm worn out from going to work, dealing with this disease crap, and watching imbeciles on Facebook say that it was all fake and they went to the hospital and it wasn't busy. And I want to murder them.
Well, I don't know about your hospital, but I can confirm the hospital that my son works at has been extremely busy here in town.
Yeah, this lady put on the WTAP thing because they were saying how busy we were. And she was like, no, I was there. The hallways were empty. Wasn't people there. It's like,
the
lady,
hallways were empty because they're not allowed to have visitors.
That's the point. That's the point. They're doing that on purpose, idiot.
I went to the store and there wasn't a person within 6 feet of me. I don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. Right. Oh, I just want to freaking kill all these freaking idiots.
Well, speaking of having incomplete information,
we
had a recent episode, I believe it was 249. We had news all over the place. We had hot takes. We had boom, boom, boom. And then, you know, it takes a little while to get these edited and we release them. We spread out the release dates a little bit. So by the time it came out, we called it.
Just tell them the truth. We let HBO know that we were coming for them, and we gave them a week or so to get their act together.
So yeah, I know no one comes here for up to the date information, but this one was especially egregious. We posted it the day Elliot Page released his news as coming out as transgender. So we misgendered the most famous trans person in America.
Killing it, crushing it.
We had all kind of movie news that were like, "Oh, I think this is happening." It had no information. And immediately after we recorded, the rumors were coming out about. We talked about the villain in Black Panther 2 and who that could possibly be.
Right.
It looks like it's a Mexican actor, and it looks like the character is going to be White Tiger, famously a Latino character. Probably better known today. There's a female White Tiger in a lot of the cartoons and the kid-friendly stuff, but the original Bronze Age version was a man. So that looks like he'll be the villain. And what I read, the villain was supposed to be Namor, introducing him into the Marvel Universe first as a bad guy. But whoever the bad guy is in this one's going to basically have to kill Black Panther. And you can't have Namor do that and then go on to be a hero later. So the chances are high we're looking at White Tiger. And the other thing, we talked for quite a long time about how much of a mess HBO Max was in.
Right.
And it was really struggling and really had to do something big.
Right.
I
See, that was good quality stuff.
Right. So, but I believe the day we posted it is when that news broke, or maybe the day after. So we were close on that one. So we were just anticipating this monster news that just dropped. That Warner Brothers' entire film slate in 2021, all 17 of their movies, are hitting HBO Max for 31 days, same day, same date as theaters.
Pretty big stuff, yeah.
That big enough for you? Ka-Pow.
I said they got to do something. They had only increased their subscription service from 35 to 39 million by making this Max channel, but they were sure bleeding money, spending plenty. So this ought to do it. You pretty much have to have it now, or you have to go all those accounts everybody's sharing with their families. You have to go. Easy, girl. Don't change your password. Leave everything the same. I need it. Because we all got to have it. We're going to watch these movies when they come out.
That's for sure. So what's the deal? They're going to be on for a month. They're going to release them into...
Then it will go probably... Then it will have spent a month in theaters, and then shortly thereafter it'll probably go to... where you can rent it on, Amazon or places like that. Pay-per-view.
Basically just.
Oh my gosh! What is
happening?
this? The face of the industry. He can't hear us.
Playing his own tunes here.
Yeah.
One of these kids is not like the other. One of these kids is doing his own thing.
Didn't we have a whole plan worked out for tonight and a schedule and a timeline?
Yeah. Well, you never know.
Anyway, so then basically also it creates a sense of urgency where if you just put these movies right on there, it might lose some of its specialness. But if you're like, I don't have a month to watch it, it feels like you got access to something psychological.
Yeah, so like we're talking about Wonder Woman, it'll be 31 days it's online. And the article I read said mysterious sources said all these decisions were kept very close to the vest, and they didn't even share them with film exhibitors or movie theater partners. It's basically just a unilateral decision. And if you're not with us, that whatever, we got the movies. If you want them, you're gonna have to play by our ball game. Right. So apparently the Wonder Woman was kind of the test case for all this, and they split up ticket sales with the theater owners in a lot bigger margin than normal. So they're giving them a bigger cut to kind of make up for the loss. But as far as this news, there hasn't been any kind of comment from them on if that's going to stick with all these future terms. I saw shares of AMC drop 16% the minute that news came out. And the spokesman from them said they will aggressively pursue economic terms that preserve our business. So these theater chains and small theaters are just scrambling to, they didn't know this before we did. So they're trying to figure this out too. They'll still get the movies if they're able to be open, but how do you compete with watching it in your living room? You might want to watch Dune on the big screen, but not everything's going to be a necessary trip to the theater.
True. Yeah, it's going to be a big deal. What are these movies? So we're going to get Dune.
Yeah, we got 17 movies coming up. Wonder Woman will be 18 in December. So in all 2021, The Matrix 4 is coming out in December of 2021. So we've already, 12 months from now, we've already decided that. So Matrix 4, Dune, The Suicide Squad, Space Jam: A New Legacy, Godzilla vs. Kong, Tom and Jerry, Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
I said as a question for some reason. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. And those are kind of the biggest, kind of franchise names I saw that needed no explanation. Some other ones, Malignant is a James Wan horror film, the guy who made Saw. The Many Saints of Newark is the Sopranos prequel, which kind of belongs on HBO, seems like.
Yeah.
And let me give you a spoiler alert. This is the year of John Bernthal, okay? John Bernthal is in most of these movies, including The Sopranos one.
Does he sing John Denver?
I hope so.
That was a couple years ago. Was John Denver year?
King Richard, Will Smith, and John Bernthal. It's a story of Venus and Serena Williams' father, Richard Williams, who was their tennis coach. Cry Macho. Does anyone know what that one is?
Yep.
That is a one-time rodeo star takes a job to bring a man's young son home and away from his alcoholic mom, finding redemption through teaching the boy what it means to be a good man. Directed by and starring Clint Eastwood.
Oh gosh, is he ever?
He's going to be somebody's dad. Somebody teaching him.
He's a one-time rodeo star, so he's like a washed-up cowboy.
Oh my gosh!
But he's still a tough feller, and he still knows what America's all about. He's going to teach us what it is.
And the skeleton says, "Get off of my lawn."
Based on a novel, so that's a book adaptation. The Little Things, Denzel Washington and Jared Leto.
Oh, I thought there for a second after you gave us that last one, I thought maybe we should start guessing them.
Oh, okay.
Little Things. This is it's a live adaptation of the Littles cartoon.
Starring Denzel
Washington as Papa Little.
They are two cops tracking down a serial killer. You may not want to guess this one. Judas and the Black Messiah.
That is the prequel to Black Santa. I don't know.
So it is not part of the 12 Apostle film universe?
Yeah, no.
All right, that one is the story of Fred Hampton, the chairman of the Illinois Black Panther Party, and his fateful betrayal by an FBI informant, starring Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield. All right, so the last three coming to HBO from Warner Brothers, I picked out as the three of these are going to be our three most anticipated movies, all right?
All right.
So I'm calling Cliff In the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, I saw this on the list. I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. I knew you'd be down for that one. All right, me, Those Who Wish Me Dead. Okay, this is from Taylor Sheridan.
Oh, that's our guy.
Some good movies, but I think Yellowstone has rubbed off on him because he is up in his game, all right? Angelina Jolie, Nicholas Hoult, and John Bernthal. A teenage murder witness finds himself pursued by twin assassins in the Montana wilderness with a survival expert tasked with protecting him. And a forest fire threatening to consume them all.
Whoa.
So it's not just twin assassins, it's also a forest fire. I assume there's probably bears, there's probably buffalo.
Oh, man.
It's going to be nuts. I'm real excited about that one.
Yes, that sounds good.
All right, so Seth, I'm calling your movie of the year Reminiscence.
Never heard of it. I'm listening.
A scientist discovers a way to relive your past and uses the technology to search for his long-lost love. Starring Rebecca Ferguson, Hugh Jackman, Tandy Newton, and Cliff Curtis. Directed by Lisa Joy, the co-creator of Westworld.
I'm very interested. I haven't heard anything about that.
Time travel-y romance.
Time travel-y, Rebecca Ferguson. I'm in.
Yeah. So there's something for all of us. Hope there's something for you in the coming year. I hope 2021 is getting off to a better start.
Yes. It has to.
So, and Cliff had some kind of weird rumor about Disney Plus and Hulu with their powers combined.
I wouldn't have sent that. It was just kind of a last minute thing. I was scrolling around on Facebook, and it's a pretty reputable site in the Disney park circle. But I'd seen where it was a post from WDWNT had put out an article about they were hearing rumors of Hulu merging with Disney Plus, which Hulu is basically owned by Disney at this point. Everybody else that, it was like a 3-way partnership, and then everybody else is kind of more or less sold off to Disney or agreed to in the future. So we were just kind of wondering what that would be like. I've heard from some other places, people have speculated that Disney Plus kind of runs off the same engine as Hulu does anyways. And I think, what do we say? Disney Plus has about 75 million subscribers. Yep. Hulu has around 36 million subscribers right now. And I'm not sure how, the pay scale when people have prepaid for one service or the other. I'm not sure how all of that would work, but I do know that Disney has made their main focus here lately on their streaming service, because the parks that's the situation they're in with COVID and reduced capacity or completely closed. The only thing that was really making money for them was streaming. So I just thought it was interesting. I'm not sure where it's going to go, if it's really going to happen soon or down the line, but it kind of makes sense to me.
Well, that just said to me, like, all of a sudden Netflix is in last place. Like, Netflix used to be the game, and now it's kind of like,
yeah,
they're quickly becoming the least important service to have.
Yeah, that's crazy. But they'll do something too. They keep buying things and making deals with directors, and I was wondering if some of these studios are going to be like buying their own theaters and things. And
yeah, I wondered about that too. If that was, existing theaters that we already have, if that was going to be a thing, if, the smaller, more independent chains will be sold off into these mega corporations, and
they're going to gut them and turn them into Disney gift shops.
Right.
Well, I think like movie, for all we know, in a year, everything's fine. You never know. And we're back in the movie theaters. They're just doing this for this next year experiment. Maybe everything works out and they can go back. The movie industry was failing anyway, though. Theaters were not doing well, but maybe it'll revitalize people to go back or not.
Yeah.
But more likely that they'll just have like less theaters, and a lot of them are going to have to realize they need to step it up, get us to go there, make it a more special experience, like Alamo Drafthouse, where you go there and there's like strict, you don't talk and you can drink beer, and and it's just like it's an experience to go there. And they take them, you put your phones away. You're coming here to watch a movie, and it's an event when you go there instead of this.
And they have festivals and guests and lectures and special stuff. It's not just, here's what's coming out this Friday, here's what you're going to watch.
Right. So hopefully that kind of stuff. Nick was saying, he's like, he wants every theater to be like the one in Athens. We like that Athena Cinema, just a little indie theater that's really nice. And I'm like, hey, all I know is I really hope there are still theaters. I hope that even if they're a boutique, I hope they survive in some way. It'd be like going to the roller rink, but they'll still be there.
Yeah, I definitely don't want them to go away. And hopefully this is just a big experiment, a good time to do all this new stuff and try new things. And some of it may work and some of it may not, but hopefully in a few months or next year or whatever, everything's back to normal, and we can take what we liked out of it and just move on.
So people like going to movies, and like not everybody. It's just taken for granted, that we can watch at home. We're all happy to watch at home, but not everybody really has like this fantastic home theater. We have bigger TVs than we used to. Pretty much everybody does, but it's not like grabbing the kids and going to the theater, getting chomping your popcorn and just getting out of the house and watching, having it blasted at you, 50-foot screens and big speakers. That's a totally different thing than pretty much whatever most people have going on at home. So I think it'll survive in some respect, but I'm also happy to have this going on next year.
I guess my worry was if, this is kind of a desperation measure. They didn't spend all that money on Dune to stream it. But like, if they start thinking, hey, this is really working and we're making an awful lot more profit, I kind of compare it to Netflix again of like, Netflix spends a whole lot of money, but it's not all on the screen. They're like, they're not, are you going to make those giant blockbusters, or is it just, well, that's good enough. It's just, we're just putting it out on streaming. So are we going to get those kind of event tentpole movies? Because you can't make your money back as you can get a lot of subscribers, but having all those ticket sales opening weekend is what it's all about, at least for the moment.
Well, I'm confused. Which were you worried about, the big blockbusters or the indie movies?
Well, I'm saying they made all these blockbusters thinking we're going to make $1 billion in the theaters,
right?
And so they're streaming them, and they're just kind of making the best of a bad situation. This is not their preferred method, but if it kicks off and they get a whole lot of subscribers and they make a lot of money that way, they're like, wow, we can do this. It's the same thing going on in the comic industry. How many corners can we cut and still be super profitable? So if they can say, well, we've already got all these subscribers, we just have to pump out a few movies. It's like no one's going to the theater anymore, so we don't need to make this giant Avengers type movie. We'll just make these little fun, Netflixy type movies. So I
don't know if that's going to fly. We can tell the difference.
I'm interested to see what happens.
We were gonna talk about something, but Michael hasn't watched it. He's here early. He's out of here. I don't know what that means. He's leaving. He didn't want to hear it. Okay. Let's talk some Mandalorian.
Oh my gosh. So the last two episodes, Chapter 13 and Chapter 14, pretty much took it to a new level, I think.
Yes, we had.
We have reached peak Filoni.
Yes, Filoni is doing it again.
Yeah, I forgot about last week. We haven't talked about the Filoni episode. Wow, that was hot news there.
Yeah. So Dave Filoni himself directed Chapter 13, The Jedi.
Ahsoka.
Right off the bat, I thought this was going to be the episode that they finally got to her, but I did not expect, like, first shot is her.
Yeah.
So she is Filoni's character, right? It was in his series. She was introduced. It's kind of like
Clone Wars. Yeah.
Clone Wars. So he is very associated with her, correct?
He is Ahsokatated with her, yes.
Ahsokatated. That's the title of the episode.
Rosario Dawson was awesome, and it looked. She came off as a complete badass in that opening scene. It was great.
Yeah, we stepped out of the Western and went into a samurai movie.
It was total Kurosawa. Just
total left turn, like that burned down forest. Her disappearing. The lights. Turning the sabers off and disappearing in the shadow, like just such cool visual.
Yes,
and I love
he was really stepping it up. I don't remember Filoni's previous episode being like that cinematic. I thought that was really.
I thought it was a nice tribute. As Dave Filoni was somebody that worked with George Lucas on the Clone Wars, and Ahsoka, to my understanding, Ahsoka was a a character not just from him, but from Lucas himself. And I thought it was a nice little nod there to do it that way, to have that that samurai episode, just because, you know, everybody knows that George, you know, his big influences were things he watched as a kid, the Flash Gordon serials and the Kurosawa movies and how he combined them all. So I thought it was a neat thing to throw it in and do it that way.
Like, what would he say about those shows?
Sing the Flash Gordon theme song as George Lucas.
They're all good. They're all good. So yeah, a great episode, a lot of action, a little different flavor with it. We got Ahsoka, and you know, immediately they used her to give us that backstory of the child, and I wasn't expecting to get a name, but we got a name.
What a name! Like, I was not expecting a name like that.
Yeah.
Grogu. Like, that is so far from what. Now, I play D&D and things like that, and there are name generators that if you just like, okay, I need a name for a character, and you just go, I need this species, and it'll have like a bunch of names that go with that. Like, that felt like how they came up with this. Like, they went, Badink, Grogu. Okay, that's your name.
Like, it's not cutesy at all.
No.
It doesn't feel very Star Wars-y. Like, it doesn't feel like a takeoff of anything else.
Doesn't
it just
start
seems,
with a Y.
Yes, it just seems way out of left field, and I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. It just, I was not expecting that. It was very not. In the first moment, it wasn't cute. Now it's, you know, it's growing on you as you get. It's growing on you, but
he was raised in the Jedi temple on Coruscant, hidden between the start of Clone Wars and the Empire's rise to power. So he's kind of explaining why wouldn't we ever see him in any other movies if he's 50 years old? So he's been hidden away.
With who? Who was?
Yeah, we don't know.
Who had him? Yaddle?
Oh, let's hope.
Yeah, we just don't know. We don't know at this point.
Right. So yeah.
So
they've just opened up so many doors in the last couple episodes for 27 different series, all revolving around Yodas and Mandalorians. It's just like there's so many ways they can go. I wonder if it's going to be like too much for people, but
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that they've.
Yeah. Was this the backdoor pilot for an Ahsoka show? Was this like
right?
The Mork and
we
Mindy
need to
episode?
Discuss how this works, because in the timeline it can get pretty freaking confusing. Because originally they're not coming out and saying when this is exactly, because nobody has made them do it yet. There has not been a point where they're saying, okay, this is exactly this year or this moment, because they're like, until they find a problem, then they'll zero in on it. But it was supposed to be 7 years after A New Hope, which would put it like 3 years after Return. So we're somewhere in there. And
I'd always heard last year. I'd always heard 5 years after Jedi.
Okay, well, I don't think it's that long, but again, they're letting us have this whole area here to float around in until they have to do something. But if you go back to the other series, you know, Ahsoka, where is Ahsoka's story? You know, she and we've got Thrawn. We get Thrawn in that episode mentioned.
Yeah.
So we know Thrawn is back. That is after Ezra disappeared with Thrawn.
Yeah.
So Thrawn has come back from that.
Right.
But it's before she has went to go look for Ezra. Am I understanding that right? Because she has not, because it's right after Jedi that at some point after Jedi, that she is going to get with Sabine and go say, let's go look for him.
Right.
And I think that's after what we just saw. Like, that could be the Ahsoka series as she goes and gets Sabine at maybe the end of this season or something and goes to look for Ezra.
Yeah, I'd seen some other folks put it together that way too on the internet. And I think that's a popular theory going around right now.
I just went back and I looked up the end of Rebels today and the end of Clone Wars and was trying to figure it out, and that's the only thing that makes any sense to me. But it's to people that haven't watched those. It's funny though. I'll talk to these girls at work that watch it, and what works is that they can do all that, have all that stuff for us to chew on, and it doesn't bother any of the Mandalorian. It works for people that don't know anything.
Yeah, I mean, I was aware of the character. I'd seen her on a lot of merchandise. I knew she was trained by Anakin, but that's about it. But in the first 5 minutes, I learned basically she's a cool, very powerful Jedi who, like Luke's trajectory, things didn't work out just like he planned. So, and that's fine. That's a great character. So I'm already interested in her story, even not knowing the threads that are left hanging. So I think they introduced her very, very well.
The only criticism I really saw about it that was, a lot of people before the episode aired had a problem that they didn't use Ashley Eckstein and cast her the same way, but who cares? I don't care about that. I saw some criticism about her head tails and not being long enough, and I'm like, guys, who cares?
Yeah, none of that matters to me. I don't have any. I mean, Ashley Eckstein was fine voicing that character, but I don't have any emotional attachment that I think that we can't move on.
I thought she did a great job. I thought her action sequences were plenty good enough. I thought they were cool. Her fight with the magistrate lady on that planet with the Beskar spear.
Right. It reminded me so much of which it does because Tarantino did the same kind of stuff, but it just reminded me of Kill Bill, Volume 1, out in the back,
the pond and the cherry tree.
Yeah.
But that actress is Diana Lee Inosanto, who is the goddaughter of Bruce Lee.
Oh.
And she is known as Sensei to the Stars. So she has trained a lot of actors in martial arts. So she got her own starring role for it.
Yeah. And she's done a lot of stunt work too herself, I think. But
that's cool.
I thought that was pretty cool in showing, how the Beskar spear reacted.
That it could take a lightsaber hit. Yeah.
So that's obviously foreshadowing into a Darksaber and Mando fight with the spear. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also had Michael Biehn as a kind of scruffy, amoral bounty hunter type.
Yeah, mercenary.
Johnny Ringo. It was he was the showdown guy from Tombstone. That's exactly why they did it. It was amazing.
You're Huckleberry, I am. So we learned that Grogu, we're still going to call him Baby Yoda at times, or the child, or whatever. So whatever, give that to us at least. The child, his attachment to Mando has made him vulnerable to fear. So he has a connection that Jedi aren't supposed to have already. So that's why Ahsoka won't train him. But of course sends him on another mission. Yeah, every episode's a new mission. Like the princess is not in this castle, but go to the next one.
Right.
I'm sure it'll be there. So
also we have to
send him off somewhere else.
We have to remember too, Ahsoka's not really a Jedi Knight. She left the Jedi Order in Clone Wars. Even she's a Force user. She has the pure lightsabers, the white blades. Because of that, but she's not actually a Jedi.
Man, Disney's gonna double up their sales on his lightsabers when the parks reopen.
That's how
Well,
we
she
do it.
can't be a Jedi because freaking Yoda told Luke he was going to be the only Jedi or whatever. So they have to find some reason why she's not a Jedi.
Right.
Anyway, great episode.
Well, the only other thing is I don't know much about Grand Admiral Thrawn and why that was such a big deal.
It's okay. You're going to find out.
A huge post, extended universe story is Heir to the Empire, and he played a major role in that, and people want to see that played out in some way.
So that is the Timothy Zahn novel from 1991.
Trilogy.
The Thrawn trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that expanded universe. Like when there, early 90s, Star Wars was not at the forefront of pop culture, and these were the novels and comics that kind of kept it alive.
Yeah.
Those the dark years, I think.
The dark times.
The dark times, yes. So
yeah.
he was back. He was in Rebels and some other incarnations, right? They've reintroduced him into the continuity.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So when Disney, to wrap it up, when Disney bought Lucasfilm, one of the first things they did with Star Wars was they took all the EU expanded universe content and just threw it out the window. It was too convoluted that Lucas had let, during those years, too many stories.
I would say they threw it in the closet.
Okay, they threw it in the closet, and then as they slowly built up with things like Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff like that, what they did was they pulled the good stuff back out of the closet and put it back on the table to play with.
Right.
So
that's awesome. That's what I want them.
Yes.
I want them to do that. So you still get the stuff for familiarity, get some pieces of the good stories without all the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great idea. Oh, Jordan's got a comic here, Thrawn, signed by Timothy Zahn.
Yep, there it is.
Wow.
Guest at the Classic Plastics Toy Expo one year. So
yeah,
yes, he was at Gen Con a couple years in a row. Nobody went over to his table. I don't think nobody was in that Star Wars mood. They were there for board games.
Yeah, I had the comic, so I got it signed. He's like, "Hey, do you want a picture?" I was like, "No, I'm good." It's like, I don't really know who you are, so don't bother getting up. It's not worth my fandom is not worth you getting uncomfortable.
So then, then we had just today, as we record on Friday, we got the latest chapter 14, The Tragedy.
Oh, see, I didn't want to see that. When I saw that, it's like, that means something bad's going to happen. That's a sad thing.
Yes.
Directed by Robert Rodriguez. I didn't know what was happening.
We could tell. Like, it was freaking, the action was good. Like, it was pretty,
yeah, it was on point. So after Ahsoka tells, at the end of chapter 13, she tells the Mandalorian to take Grogu to the planet Tython, also known as Southern California, to take him and put him on top of this Jedi temple on a mountain, and he will reach out through the Force, and hopefully another Jedi will detect him, will see him, and come to train him.
Yeah, I love that he sat on the rock and like zenned out and did a little baby yoga.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he did that. Who's he reaching out to? Who's coming?
Well,
speculation.
Speculation is it's Ezra.
No.
I think it is. I mean, who else?
Ezra. That spoils the whole.
It can't be
the whole thing.
It can't be Obi-Wan. He's gone. He's long gone.
Luke.
I don't think it's Luke. Mace.
That's what people are saying. Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson looks the same.
They've been trying to get him back since they killed him off.
I know. I'm just saying, Luke is out there. Could totally be a possibility.
Would that be some kind of redemption to give the fans who didn't like grumpy old Luke to give them Luke in his prime, stud Jedi that we've never really seen since the 80s.
I'd like to see the gymnastics of the story to make him do this and never come up in the movies. but I don't think it's Ezra, because I feel like they have to pursue that storyline of Ahsoka and Sabine going and all that, and they can't do that if he just shows up there.
If that's the
timeline,
yeah.
She could already be back, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Is she could already be back. He's back, and
a
half Jedi himself.
Okay. Well, it's a possibility.
They're talking about Ahsoka. The rumors going around, and I realize they're all rumors, but this Ahsoka Tano show, if it manifests, there's already talk about Sabine going to that show. Basically, the whole crew of the rebels, having Hera and Chopper and Ezra and going off and doing that, which kind of makes sense in a way.
I would watch it.
Yeah, I would watch it. But with Filoni,
everybody would have to go back and watch. People would have to go back and watch Rebels.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, because there's so much backstory.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so after we got Ahsoka last episode, were you expecting, boom, right out of the gate, we're getting Boba Fett, very next one?
No.
I
wasn't.
Then Slave One just drives by, like, hey, Boba Fett's here, everybody.
Yeah, and the first thing I thought was, how did he get how did he get Slave One?
It was just parked on Tatooine all those years.
Because we talked about that, like, Mando he's globe hopping, Boba's stuck in the desert. We're like, how's he ever going to catch up with him? It was like, well, we didn't worry about that.
The thing I had a problem with, I thought it was, now immediately I had placed him out of mind for when I turned this episode on, but as soon as he went flying by, I was like, oh
yeah,
awesome. Like, oh my god.
I thought it might be like a misdirect for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, we're not playing this. This is episode 6 of 8, right?
Yeah.
So we're getting too close to the end. Just bring on
it's Boba Fett, baby.
Yeah.
But then I was like, and the whole thing where he's like, I'm here for my armor. I'm like, you had Slave One. You could have taken that and just blasted the holy shit out of those Jawas and taken your armor.
Why didn't he go get the armor himself? What do you have to wait till this guy to go get Timothy Oliphant to give up his armor?
Yeah. It was
a little, yeah. And then we got what's her name? Fennec
Shand.
So she's back. She's good. She's a better actor than what's her face, Marshall of the Republic in Navarro or whatever. She can stay there.
Hey, she's a Disney legend, all right. So
that's right.
Ming-Na Wen is welcome in any show.
Yeah, exactly. I prefer her. She can act somewhere.
When she was shooting at those stormtroopers.
Yeah, what the heck? She's got cyber belly.
And when she goes like flying backwards, and as she's shooting them and then into a roll, I was like, oh, that's some Agent May stuff right there.
Oh yeah. And he's fighting with one of them gaffy sticks that the Tusken Raiders use, and he's whipping the heck out. I mean, it's the most violent use of that. Like, that's where the Robert Rodriguez was coming through. Like, this, all of a sudden, this is a very serious weapon that's crushing stormtroopers.
Yeah, that proved, like, it's not just a stick. If in the right hands, it is definitely lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the stormtrooper armor is pathetic.
Yeah. He just shatters it.
Yeah.
So, and when they whipped out the freaking E-Web blaster, I had the figures with the freaking E-Web gun. You put it there and it has the hose connected to the black box, and they've got the black box and everything. Who knows how any of that works, or if it's all just gibberish. But they had the whole toy set out there, and the sand trooper guy with a pad on his shoulder and everything. Just amazing.
So good.
And at the end, the little gun that shoots the stun gun, like they hit Leia in the original with the little whatever that's called.
And she also used it in she used that stun setting in The Last Jedi too, on Poe. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I thought I mean it was kind of, I laughed a little bit when it came out in the armor. I was like, first I was like, okay, that's pretty cool, but then it was like Boba Belly out there.
Because you've seen the figures with like the skirt thing, and he's got the skirt on. You know, I've always been like, what is the? Because they'll have those other Boba Fett figures and have like a skirt thing on it, and where they make it like a samurai looking type thing, and he was like wearing that. That was cool.
Yeah, and then we finally got to see, after all these years, the knee gun. He shoots him with the knee gun. Which I was like, that's amazing. That's one of those little details that has always, from going back to 83 or 80, that was part of the suit that they never used.
Wasn't he like, why is he so mad at the Empire? Like, he was with the Empire. He was just like working for him. He didn't have a side. He was like, now all of a sudden he's just like,
yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of reasons. Maybe he'll talk about it or whatever, but there's plenty of reasons for him to not like them, because they all looked like his dad, and you know, and he, you know,
I kind of wondered about that too, especially like he was like, the Empire's back, and I was like, dude, you've been fighting stormtroopers for the last half hour. Like, what do you mean the Empire's back? We just watch you beat the bejesus out of them with a gaffy.
I recognize that ship. Like, really? Because I don't. But I know what a stormtrooper looks like.
Right.
You can't get anything by that guy.
It's like, good Lord. So,
I also wondered what was the stormtrooper planning to do with the boulder rolling straight at him?
Shoot it. He was shooting,
like thinking it was asteroids or something.
Turn the E-Web box up. Crank it up, too late, Squish.
That was part of their training at some point. They're like, what if a big boulder's coming at me and I've got an E-Web gun? Do I
closer it gets,
get out
the better
of the way,
chance you're
or
going
do
to
I
hit
just
it?
keep shooting it?
Yeah, you will hit it eventually if it's coming right at you.
But it had a little Indiana Jones, moment there too. That was pretty cool. The boulder.
I was a little bothered that he flies Baby Yoda up there, sets him down, he goes full yogurt, and then he goes down, and they have their little standoff. He puts the jetpack down, and then has to do that whole fight. No jetpack. They're running up the side of the hill.
Yeah, why didn't he grab the jetpack?
Better yet, it has already been established this season that he has a remote control on that thing. And we watched an episode where he could control it with and get it. So, or fly it up there, and he just like, no, they forgot they can do that. I don't know what that is.
That was definitely Chekhov's jetpack at the opening scene. You better take that off. It's like, I wonder if that's going to come into play. Him not having a jetpack.
Yeah. Maybe we got the dark troopers or whatever come down. First they blast the Razor Crest into oblivion. Oh, man. And I looked at Nick. I was like, I just told Nick $1 million that little knob is still there. 100%. And he was like, and he no more than looked at me, and he's picking up a little freaking knob out of the ground.
Well, when they shot the Razor Crest and blew it all to hell, it was like I was using the Force, and I could hear 1 million fanboys cry out that had just pre-ordered that thing on Lego. The Hasbro
They just got their Lego set. No, the Razor. I mean, you can't repair that.
Well, I thought like, oh no, now we have to go flying Boba Fett ship.
Yeah,
it's like that's an upgrade, flying around in the more famous ship. So yeah, get him in that ship and get a move on.
We want both. We want everything.
But yeah, I thought he kind of. I like the character. I like the scars. I like the outfit. I like Ming-Na Wen's outfit too. I thought that looked really cool. Mm-hmm. But like, it was like he's become this weird like desert poet. Boba Fett was not the most like eloquent guy, but fate sometimes steps in to rescue the wretched. I'm like, whoa, this guy's like, man, he's a sage. Yeah, he's
yeah. I don't know. And they tried to say, okay, so he's saying he was his Django was a foundling,
mm-hmm.
and which he was never like. What we knew, he was never like Mandalorian. You know, he and it. I mean, you have to assume. Okay, he was a foundling, and then supposedly they had the Civil War, which that's when that Civil War sparked the whole Obi-Wan and Satine romance.
I think there were actually many Civil Wars. There was a whole line of them where they were just constantly fighting for power. But there is a mention in the
which could be a whole series,
right? Which could be a whole series,
and you could get Daniel Logan, little Boba, is grown up and looks like he could play the part. I mean, he looks the part.
Yeah,
get him to play young Django. I'm watching.
Well, there was a mention by somebody on Mandalore and Clone Wars.
We've come up with like 6 spinoffs. Like Disney just green light.
Just do it all.
We're just boo. We're gonna get you to 100 million subscribers, Disney.
And we haven't even mentioned the Obi-Wan is like starting filming already. So that
in Boston.
In Boston,
already going.
It's gonna be
He's not
wicked
the Jedi
cool.
you're looking for.
So, but yes, so. Going back to Boba, he pulls up on his wrist.
Hawk the Razor Crest and Scarlet Yard.
When he pulls up his
I'm done. Go ahead.
It's chain code.
I'm gonna mute my mic.
You can keep doing it then. We'll see your mouth moving.
Somebody I saw on the internet. Somebody had already decoded it with Arabesh and what it actually said. It was basically saying that Django was a foundling and he was the father of Boba Fett. It was now his armor. It was basically what it said. It was kind of jumbled up, but
which he could have pulled up that Word document while they were pointing guns at each other. Like, why did we wait till the end when everything was fine? But
yeah. So that's a little bit of retconning on the whole Django. Was he an actual Mandalorian thing?
But he could have been. It sounds to me like he may have started out that way, but he didn't really care about it anymore. You know, by the time it got to the prequels, Django, whatever. I got this cool armor.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna sell my pretty face all over the place.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So how do you guys?
No, I don't know.
How do you?
But
guys
they got to look for. They got to look for Bill Burr. That's the key to this whole thing. We're gonna blow the top off this thing. We can find Bill Burr. We can find.
He's in Boston with Obi-Wan.
Exactly. Back around. I'm glad you unmuted. It's all gonna tie together. But they got to find
Scotland Yard. I said Scotland Yard instead of Harvard Yard.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Let you go.
I'll go back and mute myself.
How you like them apples? So they need Bill Burr so they can bust it. They'll get the team together to bust into the ship.
Right.
And then we get on the ship. We get a little bit of maybe what Ahsoka is talking about. That Grogu's got a little fear and anger going on here, and he's just slamming stormtroopers around.
He's taking it out on those troopers.
Yeah. So.
And look at his teammates in little handcuffs.
Look at that cute little guy. Little freaking.
Looks like a little potato sack.
What are they gonna do when he gets a little rest? I think he could get out of them little cuff things. And
they didn't look very tight.
He whips out the dark saber and just to remind everybody he's got this sucker.
Yeah. I wasn't super awed by the dark troopers after the kind of the build up to them. I don't know. They didn't look too overwhelming.
They're very like advanced K2SO, bigger. You know, they have that base look. Only they're like bigger and more advanced. I'm curious. I think they purposefully did not show us how dangerous they were, what they could do. Mm-hmm. That'll be in the big finish here. But I imagine we're going to see what these suckers can do. And I have a feeling they're going to come off on top the first time because we have not seen them get to do anything yet. So they're going to be super badass when they do.
And they're going to kill off Gina Carano immediately.
I hope. Just blast her, come into town. They had to explain the badge she got that it was a New Republic badge because the episode that Carl Weathers was directing, he didn't get the point across. It was just like I was very confused by the badge. She was already Marshal, now she's the guy leaves a badge, or was that something? People were like, was that something from Alderaan or whatever?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so now we just know he was like making it official. You know, you're a Marshal.
New Republic.
Yeah.
So my question is real quick. Has this changed the way you feel about the sequel trilogy a little bit?
In what way?
Well, I mean, in a way that...
What could have been, you mean?
Yeah.
Like how good it could have been?
Like, does this feel better than the sequel trilogy? Like, I like the sequel trilogy, but...
It feels better than 7 and 9. I still love The Last Jedi.
Me too.
That's still...
See if they just... like some alternate reality where they just trusted Dave Filoni from the start.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of bringing in...
The fans would have been freaking... The fans love Dave Filoni. He was going to make them happy and mass audiences happy. They just didn't trust him yet.
They went with the quote-unquote safer bet.
Right.
Of, what's his name?
So, yeah, I can totally see what you're getting at there, Cliff, that woulda, coulda, shoulda. Could we make, somebody make them disappear, do it all over? Wouldn't that have been great? But they're there.
We should start a petition.
Yeah, we should.
That's all
we should. Work. We need the Filoni cut. Yeah, but, I don't know. I liked him well enough. I thought it was, yes.
I just wonder a little bit, like, if, with the Obi-Wan and if we get the Boba Fett and the Ahsoka show, like, are we going to run into that timeline pretty quickly? Like, are we going to be able to contain it into the small little time frame, or...
You could go years and years. They're going to go back. They're going to jump. They're going to have to jump around in all these years. I know what you're saying. It does suck, but who knows? In the timeline that he got to do what he wanted to do, we may not have got any of this.
That's true.
If Filoni would have had, because I remember my position was I'm a Skywalker saga guy, and then I don't know if I care enough about the other stuff beyond that. And now I feel totally different.
Yeah.
Because we finished the Skywalker saga, and then Dave Filoni got to focus on everything else. And now I'm like digging it because he got to make me love the other Star Wars stuff again.
Right. And
dang it, Cliff, you got me thinking of, like, at that point I was like, this is as good as I could hope for Star Wars. After all the prequel trilogy and like stuff I was not that interested in, the sequels were good enough for me. It's like, well, that's what a Star Wars movie is. And yeah, you're right. We're getting the best of the best of Star Wars storytelling on the small screen. And it's like, wow, yeah. What if they had put this effort into their billion-dollar movie franchise?
Yeah.
So thanks, pal.
Yeah, thanks for nothing. And now we feel like, we know there's a limit. There's only so far they can go with this, where otherwise sky's the limit. We could have had the Thrawn trilogy as the...
Right. And like I said, I'm okay with what we got. And I do love The Last Jedi. I still think it's a beautiful movie. But just, everything just seems... the Mandalorian show at this point in time thus far just feels so... Take me back to, to 1983. And it's just that experience. Like, it just feels so...
The grass was green and the girls were pretty.
Exactly. Take me down to the Paradise City. We did it. That's
hey, we didn't mention the butterfly.
The butterfly? Oh, the little...
I thought he was going to eat it for sure.
That would have made sense. There is a series of cartoons.
Reading Rainbow?
Star Wars Rollout shorts.
Okay.
Where all the bodies are like round and stuff. I don't pretend to have known about this before today, but I was reading about it because, and who knows if this was even what was intended, but there was there was stuff like Ben Solo and the Bug Hunters, and there's multiple chapters of that. It's like Ben Solo letting all these butterflies free and chasing some blue butterfly and all this, and whether that was any kind of callback to the blue butterfly.
I did see a comment or two about that, and I did not know what they were talking about.
Yeah. So I might go back and look at that and see what that's all about. But yeah, it just seemed like it felt like it was called back to something, or it could be as simple as Yoda's changing. Baby Grogu's growing up. He's metamorphosizing or whatever, I don't know. But
I don't know.
Filoni, good stuff. There was a lot packed into a half-hour episode. A
lot of storytelling there. And we didn't even mention, in the last few episodes, speaking of animals, Filoni has done that in the past with the Loth cats. And the space whale thingies.
There's an owl in the one.
There's an owl that's always been associated with like that Mortis storyline, and the Loth cats with Rebels and Ezra and the space whales and all that. So he does use animals sometimes as a little connection with certain characters. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So we got 2 episodes left, right?
2. I got to imagine it's a 2-parter finale.
And then right after that...
WandaVision.
Well, so what dates would those be? We got... Today was the 4th. So of the 11th, and then the 18th, and then the week after that on Christmas Day, I believe will be the second season of Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian Season 2.
Okay. Yep.
And which we really liked the first season.
It was great.
And if as quickly as they actually finished filming this, Mandalorian Season 2 was done very early in the pandemic. Mm-hmm. They were finished. And I would have to believe that they filmed all that gallery stuff at the same time, right? Probably right after that. And so I imagine it will look very similar to the first one, is what I'm saying. You're not going to be they're probably all still sitting around the table, whoever, you know what I mean? It will look probably the same type thing, but that was a good show. So I'm definitely interested to see how they did a lot of stuff this season.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. We pretty much expect some sort of jailbreak type thing coming up.
More Boba Belly.
Yeah.
All right, so hope you enjoyed that. Did you catch some detail we didn't? Did we blow your mind with some detail you maybe didn't see? Let us know. If you are loving this show as much as we are, we're available out there on all the social medias and stuff. And we hope you're having a nice holiday season, nice life day, and we will be back soon. We've got a bracket coming up, you guys. Next episode, we're gonna start a bracket, and everybody loves those. So stick around. All right, see you then. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
South, goodbye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udamwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udamwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.
All right, now the last 3 are movies for us.
Ding dong. Who's at the door? It's Mr. McFeely with our mail.
Mr. Easton has popped in and out of this chat.
Yeah, for those of the audio version.
He's working on some stuff, I think.
Yeah, just bear with us.
When he gets in the owl's nest, it immediately starts broadcasting to whatever podcast is recording.
All right, so the last 3 I thought would fit this podcast pretty well.
He won't speak. He's asking if he's muted, but he won't say anything.
He's not muted. Oh, he can't hear us.
Oh, well then maybe we're muted.
Are we muted? We wouldn't be able to hear each other.
Does he have headphones?
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, tell him to put his headphones in. See if that magic happens. This is episode 250, right? That we're recording right here.
This is
classic Ka-Pow.
Boom. Okay,
what's the damn chat?
Back to the news.
We're going to be talking about Star Wars, which he hasn't seen. Why is he in a hurry?
I don't know.
Okay.
Back to
and cut. And seamless edit. And